Welcome to the JMax Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Maxwell. Today I'm going to be teaching you my top 6 favorite protein sources for building muscle, getting stronger, and losing fat. Now the thing with protein is when you're dieting, when you're eating to build muscle, you do need a lot of it. You want to get a minimum of 0.82 grams per pound of body weight. So if you're 200 pounds, you got to do 200 times 0.82 gives you 164 grams minimum per day. That's your minimum, which means you need to be eating a lot of protein. But here's the problem. You end up eating a lot of the same things. Like how many times this week have you had chicken, for instance? You've probably eaten chicken a lot this week. And sometimes this gets a bit stale. So the whole purpose of this episode is to teach you my favorite methods of, to teach you my favorite protein sources, and then teaching you how I cook these so, it tastes good, so I have some variety in my diet, and so I'm enjoying what I'm eating. Because you probably seen that video online of the guy, Danny. He's this British guy, and he's sharing with you what he's eating every single day. For his bodybuilding diet, and it's something crazy. Like he wakes up at 8 a.m. I eat white fish and a rice cake, and then 10 a.m. rolls around and I think I just eat fish, and then noon rolls around and I eat fish and a rice cake, and then 2 p.m. rolls around and what do I eat? I eat fish. I'm probably butchering his accent, but that's literally what he eats: fish and a rice cake. Every 2 hours. No, it's fish every 4 hours and fish and a rice cake every 4 hours, and then in 2-hour increments going back and forth. It's like the most ridiculous diet ever. If anyone had to eat that diet, they would absolutely hate their life, and they would have such a hard time reaching their goals because it's such a ridiculous diet. So instead of that, you need to have some variety. So my absolute favorite number one source of protein, New York strip loin steaks. If I was on death row, I would ask for New York strip loin steak as my last meal, because I love New York strip loins so much. So I recommend cooking these. I cook a mean badass steak just like you'd order it at like a high quality steak restaurant. So here's how you cook it. First, you're going to take it out of the fridge and you're going to pat it down with paper towel so it's super dry. You want it to be as dry as possible on the outside, and this is how you get those perfect grill marks. Then you're just going to season it with salt and pepper. Optionally, you can cut a slice of garlic clove and rub it over the steak. That's another great way. Then what you're going to do is you're going to preheat the barbecue so it's on high heat. Once it's hot, you're going to put the steak down. Make sure you have a lot of salt on each side. You're going to put the steak down and then close the barbecue. Do nothing for 10 minutes. Open up the barbecue and then kind of rotate the steak. So you're still cooking that same side, but what we're doing is we're getting these crosshatch grill marks. So you're rotating it like 45 degrees or 90 degrees so you get these grill marks, and then let it cook for another 2 minutes. Then what you're going to do is flip it over and repeat the process. So 2 minutes, rotate 45 degrees, and another 2 minutes. Then you're going to take it off the barbecue and let it sit at room temperature, and you don't need to cover it or anything. And you're going to let it sit for 12 minutes. Now the purpose of this is because when you cut into the steak, you don't want it to bleed all over the place. So you're going to keep all the juices in. And I promise you, if you cook steak this way, it'll be like one of the best steaks of your life. Just make sure that your barbecue doesn't flare up and doesn't catch on fire. So you got to clean out the inside of your barbecue so there's not a lot of grease on the inside. So my second favorite protein source is rainbow trout. Now, I've always loved trout. Ever since I was a kid, we would go fishing, catch trout, eat the trout. I would get it at the grocery store. Growing up in Ontario, it's like one of our only local fish, and it's super high quality, and it's one of my favorite fish. So I definitely recommend rainbow trout. I've had trout and rainbow trout all over the world, and I gotta say, it's great all over the world, but nothing beats Ontario trout. I don't know why. But there is a very close second, Slovenian trout, super good too. So if you're watching in Slovenia, you know where to get your trout. But it doesn't really matter. It's pretty much great anywhere. here's how I would recommend cooking it. You're going to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Once it gets to that heat, you're going to put the trout on a baking tray. You want to very lightly oil the bottom of the baking tray, just so your trout doesn't stick. I like to put a piece of tinfoil over top and then oil the tinfoil and then put the trout on, because I like to eat the skin. If you don't like to eat the skin, you don't need to oil it, because you can just peel the fish right off of the skin. Then what you're going to do is you're going to add salt and pepper on it. Very simple. If you want, you can cut up slices of lemon and put it on top of the trout too. It's up to you. I don't like it like that. I'm a weird guy. I like to eat my trout just like regular with salt and pepper, but then I eat it with ketchup. There's people out there like me. If you're listening, you're not the only one, okay? And then you're going to bake it for 12 minutes. Just 12 minutes. Pull it out, let it rest, and you'll have some delicious trout that's not overcooked and is going to be very flaky and delicious. Now my third favorite protein source is pork tenderloin. Now I love pork tenderloin because it's super high in protein, and you can get it usually pretty cheap if it's on sale. You just buy it in bulk and freeze a bunch of them. And it's probably my favorite way of having pork. So what you do is, I like to barbecue this as well, but you can also bake it. Just bake it for like 30 minutes. But I would say barbecue it like 6 minutes on each side. Make sure you salt and pepper it. And then when you turn it for the first time, I want you to baste it with barbecue sauce, so it has this little bit of caramelized barbecue sauce on it. Another great way of having pork tenderloin is to marinate it in your favorite marinade. Pork tenderloin does really well with marinades, especially like if you marinate it for like 24 hours, even up to 3 days. Some cooks say don't marinate it too much, but I love to get a taste of a good marinade in there, so 24 hours seems to work. I think it's pretty much the sweet spot for pork tenderloin. Now my fourth favorite one is what is it? Okay, I know one of them's rabbit. So number 4 I'm just going to say is rabbit. So rabbit is something that you need to try. They're not just like this fun furry creature that you keep as a pet. You can eat it too. And if you have a pet rabbit, I'm sorry, but a lot of people eat rabbit around the world. I was living in Malta in Europe for like 3 years, and that's like their staple food. Fun little fact about this is they ate rabbit all the time, but during World War II, a lot of people were poor and there wasn't a lot of rabbit going around. But there was one thing that is all over the island of Malta in the Mediterranean, and it's wild cats. So instead of eating rabbit, they ate cats. But that's just a fun little side story. So with rabbit, what you're going to do is you're going to slow cook it. So just in the crock pot, put like the rabbit in, some potatoes, carrots, onions, garlic, salt and pepper, thyme leaves, and then pour over a little bit of white wine, and then cook that on low for like 4 to 8 hours. I'd say 8 hours. I love rabbit when it's like super, super falling off the bone, slow cooked. It's delicious. That wine just gives it that little bit of kick, and you don't need a lot of wine. Just like half a cup is fine. Number 5, I think we're on. I'm going to say elk or bison burgers. Now, burgers are great, but a lot of time you have ground beef. And when you're getting different protein sources, I think it's good to have a lot of variety. So next time you have burgers, try switching it out for elk or bison. It's pretty lean, good source of protein, and it tastes different, and it tastes really good. So just grill it like you would a normal burger, like 5 minutes on each side. Make sure you add salt and pepper. Cook it to your liking, and top the burger to your liking. And that's another great protein source. Another way that you can do it, this is what my girlfriend Cassie does, is I'll have just a regular burger and I'll have the bun, and she'll just have a burger salad. So she'll slice up the bison or elk burger and make a kick-ass salad, and she'll enjoy that while I'll just have the burger with a salad on the side. Now, number 6 I think we're at is chicken breasts. But chicken breasts are boring. You know what's not boring? Chicken fajitas. So I'm recommending chicken fajitas. So what you're going to do is you're going to slice up the chicken, and you're going to fry it with with peppers, onions, garlic, but you're also going to put some spices like whatever's in. You can take just like a fajita pack of spices and pour that over and cook it like that. Or what you can do is you can make your own. I think the main ingredients in it are chili pepper, cumin, salt, pepper, and probably something else. You can just Google it online. But it's super simple and it's delicious. And if you want to give it a little bit of kick, slice up some tomatoes and fry it up with that as well. And you have your chicken fajitas. Now, it's not as boring, and it is a very simple meal because you just have to kind of cut it all up and fry it together, and you're good to go. So I think that's the 6 if I didn't miss anything, but there is one honorable mention, and it's just good old-fashioned scrambled eggs. So if I'm in a pinch for time and I want to get some protein in and I'm hungry and I want a little bit of a snack, I'll crack like 3 eggs together, scramble it up in a bowl with a tiny bit of water and salt and pepper, like absolute tiny bit of water, like maybe 5 milliliters or under. Scramble it up, get it slightly foamy, and then you're going to microwave it for 60 seconds, pull it out, scramble it up again, and then microwave it for 30 seconds, and then just let it sit. That's a super quick meal. You get in your protein, and it's not really a meal, it's more of a snack. But if you're in a pinch and you're hungry and you don't feel like putting the effort into making something, this is actually a pretty delicious microwave meal. Not a lot of fitness professionals are going to tell you this, but this is life, and you want to get your protein in fast. Just whip up some scrambled eggs in the microwave and you're good to go. So guys, those are my top 6 protein sources. We have New York strip loin, we have pork tenderloin, we have rainbow trout, we have chicken fajitas, we have bison or elk burgers, and we also have rabbit. Try one of those this week. Let me know how it goes. If you guys have any recommendations for protein sources for me to try, make sure you let me know as well. Guys, I am Jason Maxwell here from J Max Fitness, and I'll be seeing you guys next time.